CORNWALL CLUB on Coast FM. Oh, that sub bass is very, very loud. I think I'm going to have to adjust that. Anyway, a very, very warm welcome to the show. Welcome to Coast FM. This is CORNWALL CLUB with me, Ben. I've got a few absolutely amazing special guests tonight, so please stay with me. Very, very pleased, as always, to have these people with me. We've got, three for you. Yeah. First of all, got a film critic, TV presenter, radio broadcaster, and podcaster. So I think I might just summarise that. Shorthand, media legend, Jamie East. He's going to be alongside ITV This Morning's resident doctor, Dr. Zoe Williams, and also Kathy Yelf, who's the chief executive of the Macular Society. So first up then, Jamie. Now he's here to give us a rundown on 22's year in TV and film. What's he excited about the most? You will find out very shortly. But what makes him an expert in TV? Well, I think you'll be convinced by the end of this list. So he actually started his career, his rise to media fame, presenting on Big Brother's Bit on the Side. And that was Channel 5's second highest rated programme after, of course, Big Brother. After that, he co-hosted seasons of Thronecast, the official Game of Thrones fan show on Sky Atlantic. He's been on various radio stations, and most recently he's kicked off a bunch of his own podcasts. Some of those are Talk Film, Reality Check, and the Smart 7. Now, due to the Smart 7's popularity, actually, that called for a sport version, the Sport 7, and most recently, a fitness version made in partnership with a personal trainer. That's called the Sweat 7. Yeah, so Jamie, really, really pleased to have you. There's actually a video version of this interview. I'm going to pop that on my Facebook page, probably. Ben the Radio Guy, if you want to check it out, go ahead. What am I doing? Can't be self-plugging my Facebook page, can I? Shameless. Absolutely shameless. And Dr. Zoe Williams as well. Now, she's actually, I guess, best known for her work on ITV's This Morning. But you might have also seen her, and actually she initially kind of rose to media prominence as the character Amazon in the UK television series Gladiators. So she's a bit of a fitness legend, fitness and wellness legend, as well as being a doctor as well. And she's previously played rugby. So yeah, she knows the stuff. So today she's going to be bringing us a bit of a message about the MMR vaccine. So listen out for that. And as I said, Kathy Yelf, Chief Executive of the Macular Society. She's actually been Chief Exec of the Society since Feb 2015, having first joined the Society in 2008 as Head of External Relations. Before working in the charity sector, though, she had a long career in journalism, mainly at the BBC. She's also a trustee of Action Against Age-Related Macular Degeneration, a collaboration of 3 sight loss charities established to find new therapies to stop early AMD, age-related macular degeneration, developing into the blinding forms. And she sits on the Executive Council of the Association of Medical Research Charities. So, in other words, she's, pretty serious news in the charity world and in the world of AMD. And she's a big advocate for regular eye testing, as she's going to be discussing today with us. So that is, I think, probably quite enough chat for me for now. I'm going to kick this show off. I'm going to start by welcoming the fantastic Jamie East to the show. Jamie, welcome, sir. Now, guys, before I play this interview, just a bit of a heads up. If you haven't seen the new Spider-Man film and you're worried about spoilers, well, maybe give this one a miss. We do not mention any specifics, so no spoilers, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm just worried. I don't want to spoil it for you. And there's we allude to excitement in it. So I just want to be careful. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't listen to this. Tune out. Not worth it, mate. All right. Bye for now. CORNWALL CLUB on Coast FM.
How you doing, Ben? All right?
Oh, hi, yeah. Hi, Jamie. How you doing, mate? Thanks very much indeed for joining us today.
No, not at all.
I was just going to say, actually, first of all, Jamie, just to warn you at the very start, right, I was thinking you are going to deserve a song request as our very small thank you today. Now, I don't know if it's going to be some of your own music. It could be, but it's up to you.
My ego is very healthy. It's not that healthy. I will choose something else. Okay, I'll have a think.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's get chatting about TV then. I mean, I'm hoping you're going to tell us that it's a fantastic year for TV. It kind of looks like that way, to be honest. I've been looking through some of the offerings. There's some pretty awesome things in there. I was wanting to get your kind of view on them, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to tell you that 2022 is in absolutely rude health as far as TV is going. While the rest of the world might be burning, TV at least is gonna help us through yet again. There is just a wealth of things coming to the screen, whether they are brand new or whether they are returning kind of favourites. We've got Westworld Season 4's coming back. We've got the Game of Thrones prequel. We've got I Hate Susie 2. We've got Gangs of London 2. You know, I mean, they're all things that people know about. There's big movies that are coming to Sky first, for instance, Matrix Resurrections, Dune, Spider-Man No Way Home. And then, I guess, the new things, which are the things that people really want to hear about, because it's difficult to tell, isn't it? When something's good, you can watch a trailer. Most trailers look absolutely fantastic, but thankfully people like to hear from critics, but also like peers, you know, friends and family and loved ones for their recommendations. We judge people based on those recommendations. Do you know what I mean? I do. I know I do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those classic things as well. I think in friendship groups, right, you've kind of all got to roughly like the same sort of things. I mean, I don't know, do you find your friends all kind of quote the same kind of things all the time from films?
Yeah, and I think that's how they become friends. You know, everyone's got different friendship groups, and it might be that with one friend you're quoting Alan Partridge all the time, with another it might be Succession, but yeah, you know, how people react to your favourite TV shows, I think, determines how good a friend you're going to be with them, and quite right too. Do you know what I mean? There's been a ton of research done, and like there's this wild statistic. So out of all the people that Sky interviewed about this, did this research, they found that 6% of people ended up marrying someone based on their television recommendations, which is mental.
Yeah, well, we spend so much time kind of watching films and TV together, don't we? I mean, it kind of, I guess it's not. Yeah, when you kind of put it like that, I guess it's not amazingly surprising, is it? Because it's just, such an important part of our lives, really, entertainment.
Yeah, love is not watching that next episode until your partner's back home.
Yes. Have you ever cheated, though? Have you ever sneakily snuck ahead? Are you going to own up to that? Or not that you could own up to?
Man, I have watched entire seasons of shows that I have then had to sit and watch again and pretend I've never seen before in my life.
But if you act just a bit too surprised, is that the giveaway? It's like,
Yeah, exactly. You've got to time it just right. But I think, you know, that is a sign of the times now. It's like, no, you can't watch that until I'm back. And it's like, but you're not going to be back for 2 days. That's not fair. You know?
I know. You have to kind of do remote viewing then, don't you? Like, okay, let's go on Zoom or something. We'll watch it together. How about that?
Yeah, well, that communal viewing is part of the whole, you know, social media has been great in that kind of communal kind of that viewing experience. We now feel as though we're watching something with the whole world. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the Game of Thrones prequel already, actually, but I was thinking that might be particularly exciting for you, of course, given your kind of. I bet it reminds you of your work on Thronecast. Are you kind of really looking forward to that? I bet you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I have such fond memories of working on that show and spending time on the set and, you know, with the cast, and, you know, it was a dream. It was literally the best job I've ever had, but mainly because I was such a huge fan of the show anyway, of Game of Thrones. So, you know, I am front of the queue for this one. You know, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with it. I love the fact that we don't know anything about it. That there isn't this book fraternity versus the TV fraternity, that, you know, we're discovering it, a whole new world all at the same time, but in a universe that we know we love, you know. So I can't wait.
I love to see that. Matt Smith's in it as well. That's a particular, a big fan of his. Actually. Yeah. I mean, great actor, fantastic. All of the cast just look perfectly cast. Yeah, fantastic. And you also mentioned Spider-Man. What did you think of the big kind of reveal in that?
Oh, my goodness me. Well, right, here's a question for you. We can't give spoilers away for Spider-Man yet, I don't think. I think it's still too soon.
I know, it's scary, isn't it? It's difficult to kind of say too much, but...
I think it's coming onto Sky very, very soon anyway. In fact, before it goes anywhere else. But I think, you know, we won't give the secret away. But Spider-Man's been a huge part of the East household for the best part of, you know, 20 years, 25 years, since the first Tobey Maguire with my eldest son, who's now 28, right down to this one with Tom Holland with my youngest, who's 13. And so seeing those moments in the latest film were just incredibly emotional. It was just brilliant. We love it. Unashamed kind of Marvel and Star Wars fans. Yeah, it's just brilliant. And again, it's just that unifying, that beautiful unification of watching something that everybody is into. It's just great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
What kind of stuff are you into? What are you into? Are you a documentary guy, a drama guy?
I'm a massive fan of Marvel and Star Wars, to be honest. I'm right with you there. That's probably my go-to is always stuff like that. I just love kind of fantasy, sci-fi. I like a bit of horror as well. Do like a bit of horror. Yeah.
Neat segue there. I've got a couple of good horror recommendations.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Midwich Cuckoo comes out on Sky in May. That stars Keeley Hawes and Max Beasley. It is created by the same team that did The Night Manager, to give you some idea of the kind of quality of the cast and
nice,
that.
Nice,
but it's based on a classic sci-fi novel by James Wyndham, whereby it's a town called Midwich, and all of the female residents all drop unconscious at the same time, simultaneously just fall to the floor and are out cold. And when they all come to, they're all at the duff, they're all pregnant, which is, as weird as that sounds, it gets weirder because fast forward a few years, all of the children that were created from that event, there's something deeply unsettling about them.
Oh, it's yeah.
A little bit M. Night Shyamalan, got a bit of Sixth Sense, kind of like, that kind of chilling, eerie feeling that you like. So that's coming out in May. Before then, there's one called The Rising that's coming out, which is, I guess, a creepier version of Ghost. It's about a young lady called Neve Campbell who's dead, and yet she can still walk the earth. She can still kind of go into her old house and see her mum and her dad and all the rest of it. But they can't see her. And she realises that she's been murdered, yet no one knows. They don't even know where she's gone. So she tries to find ways of showing them where her body is, and then trying to work out who killed her herself, as well as trying to help the police, and uncovers some quite incredible secrets about her own life. So again, to give you some indication, that's the same kind of creepiness, that kind of eerie M. Night Shyamalan kind of feeling as well. So that's coming in March.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that sounds like right up my street. We actually watched some of his work, Signs, last night again. I love that film. Obviously quite an
absolute classic film. You know
amazing.
What? Signs is brilliant. The Village is my favourite M. Night quality film. That'll be available. That's on demand. You can get that Sky on demand. It is my favourite film of his. Without a shadow of a doubt. I love that film.
Oh, so good. Yeah, I actually thought you might be a fan of horror, because of course I know you've been on, you've done a couple of appearances on Most Haunted Live, haven't you? I mean, that must bring you back to that.
Well, there were many things that are horrific about that. The ghosts weren't one of them. I'm not a believer. I went on there as a disbeliever of the occult and the supernatural, and let's just say I firmly remain a disbeliever in that. Yeah. But it was such a fun night. I did two of them. I did one with Rylan, and then did another one with Christine Bleakley, and just insane evenings. Just nuts.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you at all. That sounds literally so funny. Yeah, amazing.
It was.
Now, this might be a tough one, because obviously it's always tough off the top of your head, but we're kind of talking just very briefly about kind of quotes, favourite quotes. Do you have any kind of top film quotes? I know it's a bit harsh, isn't it, that's off the top of your head, but just
top film quotes? Oh my goodness me.
I mean, is it going to be the classic, like, you shall not pass? Obviously that's always an absolutely amazing one, isn't it? Good old Gandalf.
That's a great one. I mean, Blade Runner, I've seen things you people wouldn't believe from Rutger Hauer is one of them as well. I mean, there are just so many. I mean, roads, where we're going, who needs roads? I mean, there's just too many to choose from. I'm a child of the 80s, so anything that involves the Truffle Shuffle or Goonies Never Say Die is right there for me.
Yeah, quality. Yeah, as you say, it's a pretty epic time for entertainment, I think. I don't know about kind of yourself, obviously being a critic yourself might be interesting to hear your perspective, but it's an epic time to be, a fan of all of these things. There's just so much choice these days, isn't there? Like, all on demand, you can just watch whatever you like. It's a pretty good time for entertainment, I think, for us as a consumer.
Yeah, you can make your own timetable, which I think is the best thing, and you can watch certain things with certain people. There are shows that I watch with my youngest son, shows that I watch with my wife, shows that I watch with my eldest son, and it enables you to kind of forge these kind of patterns. And whether something's available just on a Sunday evening, which is more appointment to view stuff, that works absolutely fine. Everyone tune in for Line of Duty and all those kind of shows. But then when things drop all at once, that's equally as great for when, especially in this weather that we're having now, that rainy, miserable weekend where it's just like, actually, there's nothing happening. We're not going out anywhere. Let's just quickly walk the dogs and then sit down and just blast through. I've not watched Gangs of London. Let me go on demand and watch the entire first series of Gangs of London, getting ready for the next one. Things like that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas before, I think maybe 10 years ago, you had a favourite series, it came out, you watched it, and then it was a good kind of 3 or 4 months before something else came along to kind of wet your whistle. But now you can literally rack them up. Like you said, you mentioned you're a Marvel fan. You could watch Yellow Jackets and know that you've got Book of Boba Fett lined up, and later on in the year, you need to be watching I Hate Susie, because I Hate Susie 2 is going to come out. You could even coincide that, so you can just kind of go blast all the way through. So I think it allows us to never get bored. No one can complain that there isn't anything to watch, regardless of your taste. If you're into soaps, if you're into documentaries, Predators is coming out later on this year, which is a fantastic documentary. There's another one about Mother Teresa called For the Love of God, which really throws her kind of legacy wide open. Whether you're into documentaries, comedies, anything, you cannot say that there's nothing on telly. That's just a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I absolutely love a good binge. Thanks, Jamie. It's been fantastic chatting to you. I'll just do a couple of things that won't keep too much longer now. First of all, if you wanted to kind of, pop across any links or point us in direction of more information, you're very welcome. And then the last thing is, of course, your song request. And I can see some guitars in the background there, so I'm thinking this is going to be an epic choice.
Okay, all right, fine. I mentioned quite a few of the shows, Midwich Cuckoo and The Rising and Predators and Mother Teresa and stuff. Sky just dropped all of those trailers on their Twitter page and YouTube channel. So go to Sky TV on Twitter and YouTube to go and check those out. And if you've got a Sky remote, you can just kind of do the search on that, say brand new in 2022, and it appears directly on your screen. It's like magic. Oh, nice. Right, you're going to ask me for a song, aren't you?
It is. It's time. And I know this is not fair because it's off the top of your head, but it's time.
You know what I'm going to go for? I'm going to go back to, I think, early 90s.
Okay, yeah.
I would like you to play for me Heaven Sent by In Excess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nice. Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you, Jamie. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Coast with us today. So I just want to say a massive thanks and, loading up some sweet tunage now for you.
Thanks very much. Enjoy. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks, Jamie. What a wicked song request as well. I knew you would have it in you. I just knew it. He's actually quite modest because I was expecting, and it would have been perfectly acceptable for him to have actually said, you know what, play some of my own tunes. He's got a lot of his own music up there. Just Google him. Right, okay, moving on with the show then. I think it's time to invite to the show Kathy Yelf, Chief Exec of the Macular Society. Of course, a charity all about protecting the eye. Now, today Kathy's got a bit of a message. She's a bit of an advocate for regular eye testing because this can pick up diseases occurring and developing in the eye. So she thinks it's very important that we don't forget to regularly get our eyes tested. Here is what Kathy Yelf had to say about this.
People value their sight above all other senses in the main, hearing and smell and taste and touch. Of them all, sight is always ranked the highest. And even the fear of losing sight is even worse than fear of some really quite major diseases like diabetes. And yet, paradoxically, confusingly, people simply don't prioritise their vision in their everyday lives. So they don't know how to eat to look after their eyes. They don't know that smoking can make you go blind. And they often don't bother going and having eye health checks at their local optician practices in the high street. So really, we want to try to get people to match the concern that they give and the treatment, the way they look after their eyes. We want that to match the value that they put on their vision.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. And you kind of mentioned in your kind of introduction and your work, of course, over at the Macular Society that there are, of course, conditions that affect the macula. Do you think it's good for people to be aware of these kind of different conditions that can affect that area?
It's really, really important. And one of the most important reasons is that many, not all, sadly not all, but many of these conditions can be treated if they're caught early enough. So if you start to lose your sight from macular degeneration, for example, there are two types, dry and wet. Technical details, but one of them, wet macular degeneration, can actually be treated. But if it's not treated quickly, then you can't reverse the sight loss. You can't make it better. You can only stop it getting worse. And so if you don't go regularly and have eye checks at your local optometry practice, high street optician shops, then there's a risk that these things won't be picked up early enough and you'll lose vision that you don't need to lose. Now, obviously, mainly macular degeneration, not exclusively, but mainly affects older people. So it's really, really important as you do get older and even at younger ages, have these regular checks so that what can be treated can be picked up and treated quickly.
Yes, that sounds incredibly important. One very important takeaway for today, because I can imagine it's just so kind of disheartening when you're in that position when you think, oh, actually, if only I just kind of had this checked earlier, then of course I could have received treatment earlier. And I bet for the kind of treating kind of ophthalmologists and the opticians as well, I mean, they must feel quite, I guess, distraught that they're not able to kind of help more just because of that, lack of check that happened earlier. It must be, quite a difficult position to be in for everyone involved, really.
It's heartbreaking, isn't it? I mean, there's so much sight loss, dry macular degeneration, for example, that can't be treated, although that is a much slower progressing condition than wet macular degeneration. But it's heartbreaking because, the impact of losing your vision is absolutely devastating. And for many, many people, it really does have such a huge impact on their quality of life, particularly if they don't know about organisations like the Macular Society and they don't get the support and advice and information and emotional support very often that they need. It can be pretty desperate. And so it is heartbreaking and tragic when you hear of cases where people are presenting too late for treatment. Of course, there is a huge problem when we're trying to get the attention of politicians and policymakers as well, because it's not just us as individuals who tend to overlook the importance of vision. Actually, government and the NHS doesn't prioritise it enough either, in our view. And we want to see a lot more research funneled into eye research, investment, and we also want the NHS to make sure that there's enough capacity in the system to treat all the people who are now coming through with macular disease. And because it affects older people, of course, it means more and more people are getting it because more of us are living into our 70s, 80s, and 90s and so on. And there isn't capacity in the NHS to treat everybody even before COVID. And now we've got the aftermath of COVID to cope with as well. The clinics are absolutely overflowing in many parts of the country. So it really is an important priority for government as well as for us as individuals.
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. Because actually, I guess touching on another one of these kind of misconceptions that the public have, it's actually a very large number, isn't it, of people that live with sight loss in the UK. I think it looks like it's over double, actually, what people kind of thought. Is it 2 million-ish?
Yeah, 2.5 million probably. We think that there are about 1.5 million people living with sight loss caused by a macular condition, and there are lots of them. So there's age-related macular disease, AMD, people may have heard of. That's the most common by far. But diabetic macular disease is also a big problem. And also there's a form of macular disease that can come as a result of very high levels of short-sightedness. So that's also a risk, and that's growing as well because more people are becoming short-sighted, interestingly. So there are a lot of people just living with macular diseases, 1.5 million people living with macular diseases. And we think age-related macular degeneration will double before 2050 because of the ageing population. So this is a real health issue that needs to be addressed. And there are lots of things that people can do to help themselves. I mean, we know that most macular disease has a genetic component, so it runs in families. And if you have a family member with it, you are more likely statistically to get it. But there are other lifestyle. It's a complicated disease, so there are lifestyle issues as well. Smoking, as I mentioned, is a very, very significant impact on macular degeneration. So does a poor diet. You're more likely to get macular disease if you don't eat fruit and vegetables very much. So all the health advice that we give people for their heart is also true for your eyes. Don't smoke. Eat a healthy diet with lots of leafy vegetables and antioxidants. Keep your weight and blood pressure normal. And those are the things that you can do yourself to help protect you from eye disease.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Yeah, that sounds like really important advice for people. And I wonder if it's worth kind of talking a bit about, let's say somebody out there does have concerns that they might be affected by an eye issue, or perhaps they might be worried that they've kind of got a currently unrecognised eye condition that they want to have looked at. Could we kind of remind our listeners about what they should be doing in that situation?
Yeah, so what everybody recommends in the eye world is that people have regular eye tests at their local high street opticians shops. You make an appointment with your optometrist, who is an eye care professional who is trained not just to decide whether you need glasses or not, but also can make a good diagnosis about what is happening from the eye health point of view, not just whether you're short-sighted or long-sighted, but whether your eyes are healthy. And they can then refer on to hospitals if that's necessary. So what people say is every couple of years, people should go and have their eyes checked. If you're over 60, or you're a child, or you're in full-time education, or you're on certain benefits, these eye checks are free. You don't have to pay for them. And I think people sometimes are concerned that they're going to be bamboozled into buying an expensive pair of glasses that they don't need. But I don't really think that's true. So people shouldn't be put off going to have regular eye tests. And then if you are worried and you think that there's something wrong with your eyes, don't delay. Don't prevaricate over this. Get down to that high street shop immediately and get your eye looked at, because there are some things that can really cause significant loss of vision really over a very short period of time. So you do need to go and have your eyes checked if you're at all concerned about it.
Oh, thank you, Kathy. Yeah, that sounds like really important advice for people. So thank you for that. And I wonder if it's worth, because of course, your work over at the Macular Society sounds, fantastic, and another really nice source of information for people. I was wondering if it's worth kind of, pointing our listeners in direction a bit more information. It could be, any other kind of web links that you think might be worth people knowing about, or, anything like that at all. That'd be most welcome, Kathy.
Yes, so we have a huge amount of information on our website, of course, which is macularsociety.org, M-A-C-U-L-A-R, macularsociety.org. Or you can phone our advice and information service weekdays in office hours 0300 30 30 111. That's 0300 30 30 111. Or our website, macularsociety.org.
Cornwall Club on Coast FM. Okay, next up on the show, it's another very special guest, Dr. Zoe Williams, resident doctor on ITVs this morning, also known for her work on the TV series Gladiators. So actually today, Dr. Williams has got a bit of an update on the MMR vaccine. Now, I know I blabbed on about this already, but of course, if you do have any medical advice that you need, it's always important to make sure you're getting that from the right source. So reach out to your GP or healthcare professional or the NHS 111 numbers as examples, because of course this show can't replace your medical advice. All right, that's enough from me. I know, I can hear you snoring, but I don't want the lawyers bursting down my door and saying, Ben, what on earth are you doing? You're not a doctor, mate. And I'll say, I've got a PhD, does that count? And they'll say, no, it doesn't. Anyway, okay, let's just get on with the show. Cornwall Club on Coast FM.
Hi, I'm Dr. Zoe Williams. I'm a GP and media medic, and I'll be talking to you today about MMR vaccines.
Oh, Dr. Williams, very, very warm welcome to you. Thanks for being with us. I've got the kind of stats in front of me as well, actually, and I must say, just straight off the kind of top of my head, just from a layperson's perspective, it sounds pretty worrying, actually, that this kind of lull in vaccine uptake is being seen at the moment. I wonder what your kind of immediate reaction to this as well, because I can imagine it's probably one of a bit alarming, to be honest.
It is alarming. We're seeing that 1 in 10 children are starting school not having been fully vaccinated against measles, mumps and rubella. And the worry here is that we're at a time at the moment where people are starting to come back to the UK who may be travelling from countries where measles is more endemic. We're starting to get back to normal, so not necessarily taking as strict measures that reduce the risk of spreading viruses. And we've got the lowest rate ever of children being protected from measles, mumps and rubella. And the risk, therefore, is that moving forward, we're going to see outbreaks of these viruses in nurseries and in schools. And the real concern about that is that measles in particular can be a very dangerous infection. Whilst most people that get it will have a respiratory illness with a rash, even otherwise healthy children can get complications. And those complications can be serious ear infections, pneumonia, brain inflammation, and in rare cases, it can be fatal. So it really is of concern that there's a risk that there could be outbreaks and a risk that some children could get very poorly when we have a vaccine that can protect them.
Yeah, and I don't know if this has kind of played into it at all, but it'd be interesting to kind of think about why this might be the case. And I don't know whether the kind of, worry about obviously coronavirus has maybe dominated parents' minds recently. They're kind of forgotten to think about these other, obviously, can be very, very dangerous indeed diseases that are out there as well. Might be worth just, reminding them really that, it's not all about coronavirus, is it? There are of course lots of things to, look out for, and obviously, taking note of what you're told by your GP is incredibly important, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And there are a number of reasons why we're seeing this. We were seeing a decline in uptake of the vaccine before the pandemic. And I think one of the main reasons is that because we're a generation of people who haven't really seen with our own eyes and witnessed children getting unwell with these diseases, because we've had such a successful vaccination programme,
sure,
we kind of feel perhaps like it's not that important anymore. We've forgotten how serious it can be. But there's no doubt that the pandemic has exacerbated the situation. And there's been a survey done that's shown that about 1 in 4 parents who haven't had their child vaccinated against MMR have said it's because they didn't realise the NHS was still offering appointments and they didn't want to burden the NHS. So, all of these reasons are really valid and understandable, but the message out there is we never stopped vaccinating children, even in the height of the pandemic, because it's so important. So even when we really restricted face-to-face appointments, we would still bring children in to vaccinate them. So don't panic if you've missed a vaccination for your child, but do get them booked in straight away so that they can catch up.
So in terms of checking up on the kind of, status of your child's vaccination for MMR, is this something that you can just call up and check on if you're not sure yourself? Or how would you kind of recommend that parents confirm that, they're definitely up to date, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so the children should receive their first vaccination at 12 months and their second before they go to school. That's usually around 3 years and 4 months. And parents will be contacted when the time is right to book their appointment. So if your children are due, it's coming up, then you will be contacted. But if you've missed a vaccination, then just ring up and book it in. If you're not sure, then you can check your child's Red Book. So the Red Book will have all of the vaccination schedule, and it should be documented in there, the vaccines that your child has had. But if in doubt or you're not sure, then yes, I'd recommend ringing your practice and ask to have a telephone consultation with the nurse, and the nurse will be able to check your child's record and, if necessary, book them in for their vaccination. And if people want just a bit more information generally, then the NHS website's a really good resource, and that's nhs.uk/MMR.
Oh, Dr. Williams, thank you very much. Yeah, that all sounds fantastic. And I guess one thing, I don't know if you wanted to cover this off at all. It's up to you, really. But I was just thinking maybe it's worth just kind of addressing, in case anybody out there is kind of got themselves worried, because of a result of kind of misinformation that they've seen online. I mean, I know this has kind of been a bit of an issue during the kind of coronavirus period as well. I don't know if it's something that you wanted to comment on, reminding people the importance of, making sure that they are getting information from, valid sources.
Yeah, and the NHS website is where I would ask people to go and read. And just to say, I'm a parent. I have an 8-month-old. He will definitely be having his MMR vaccine when he turns 12 months, and he'll be having his second one as well. I think there is a lot of misinformation out there, and I really empathise, because we as parents, we just want to do what's right for our child. We want to protect them. We want to look after their health, and we absolutely don't want to do anything that could cause them harm. But when it comes to the MMR vaccine, there's no question of a doubt that the best thing we can do for our children is give them the protection that the vaccine provides. The measles vaccine was first introduced in 1968, and it's estimated that since then, the vaccination programmes prevented 20 million cases of measles and prevented 4,500 deaths. So, vaccines are safe. The MMR is safe. It is effective. And the best thing you can do for your child is vaccinate them.
Oh, Dr. Williams, well, thank you very much. Yes, it's been really fantastic having on the show with us. I'll just do a couple of things, if that's okay. I'm aware of your time, so I won't keep you for too much longer. I was just really wanted to, first of all, just check with yourself that you've covered off everything you wanted to today. For example, if you wanted to kind of reiterate, anything at all, you're very welcome to. Or indeed, if there's any other links, you mentioned the NHS website, which is fantastic. If there's anything else at all that you wanted to kind of point our listeners towards, then you're very, very welcome to do that. And then the very final thing, of course, is it's the silly question, I'm afraid. It's song request time. So if you would like a song, that's what we're going to follow your appearance with. So yeah, I'll hand over to you.
I think we've covered off the main points. I think the instructions were hopefully quite clear that if in doubt, check the red book, make an appointment with your GP, have a chat with them, and the NHS website was there. And then, song request. Well, thank you very much. Don't normally get to request a song. So please could I request something quite upbeat and fun that hopefully will get people moving, because I'm obviously a big advocate of moving your body as well. So I'm going to choose Fleur East and Sax.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I thought you were going to think of something like that, actually, Dr. Williams, because I was going to say it's quite in-fitting, I think. So that's absolutely perfect. So thank you for your time today. I really hope you can join us again at some point on Coast. Just it'd be brilliant to have you. But thanks for today. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, Ben. Thank you so much.
Hang on. It's having to open the windows in the studio here. Oh, wow, yeah. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Zoe Williams, for coming on the show just now. That was a storming song request. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to get that cheeky, late in this evening, Wednesday evening. That's how it goes, though, isn't it, on this show? Right, anyway, heading towards the closing. I know. Coming to the end of another show. I can't quite believe it. Do join me again next Wednesday, as always, from 6 o'clock. Or at least, have that in your calendar as the time to avoid your radio. I don't know, either one. But anyway, there it is, 6 o'clock. I think I'll just treat you to a bit of this to finish up with.